So besides the Blue Eyes cards, there was another extremely hyped card from the newest selection pack. And that's this card right here, 7th Tachyon. This is basically one of the most generic search cards in the entire game. There are literally thousands of monsters that you can search from this single card. So how this works is you reveal a number of Exceed monster in your extra deck that has a number between 101 and 107. And that's basically these. These are every single Exceed that has a number from 101 to 107. So any of these 14 cards. And then you can add one monster from your deck to your hand with the same type or attribute as that monster and the same level as that monster's rank. And then you place a card from your hand on top of the deck, and then you're locked into Exceed monster from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. So what this means is that essentially, because most of these cards are level 4 and most of these Exceed monsters are level 4 and level 5, it means you can search almost any or the majority of level 4 monsters or level 5 monsters in the entire game. And the thing is though, technically, while there are a lot of search targets, most decks probably don't actually want to run this card even though it's so generic. Mainly because of the fact that it Exceeds locks you. So like, obviously if you're playing a deck that depends on extra deck summoning mechanics that aren't exactly Exceeds, you probably don't want to run this card really. I know technically it doesn't lock you out, it doesn't lock you into Exceeds for the entire turn, it only locks you after you activate this card for the rest of the turn. But like at the same time, you have to think that this card is a -1 when you activate it. You already have to put a card back into your deck. So if you also can't really search a starter with this, because if your deck depends on non-Exceeds monsters, you don't really want to activate this at the start of your turn and then lock yourself into Exceeds, right? So that doesn't make too much sense, right? I think this is going to be mainly just restricted to decks that actually only play Exceeds monsters or decks that don't care about the extra deck at all. So let's go over what I think are going to be some of the most search cards that 7th Tachyon is going to search in Master Duel, competitively. And of course, I know I'm probably going to be missing some. Again, there are thousands of cards that this card can actually search. So, of course, let me know if there's some very obvious ones that I've missed on. But yeah, first of all, this is not a TCG video. This is a Master Duel video. So we don't have Ryzeal monsters to search here in Master Duel yet. And I know that in the TCG, that's probably going to be the most common thing that 7th Tachyon searches, which is going to be Ryzeal cards. And then another common thing that might be searched in the TCG that we don't have to worry about here is Catapult Turtle, because Catapult Turtle FTK is still a real thing that you can do in Yu-Gi-Oh! And in TCG, this card is legal. In Master Duel, thankfully they banned this card long ago, so we don't have to worry about this shit on the ladder anymore. But yeah, to all my TCG players, if somehow you're a TCG player watching this, I don't know how you got here, but I hope you run enough hand traps in your decks so that you don't get Catapult Turtle FTK too often. But yeah, onto the search targets in Master Duel. And honestly, if you probably saw like the top row here, you're probably not that much more excited. Even though we don't have to worry about Catapult Turtle FTK, you'll notice that we have stun monsters. Why? Because stun decks do not care about being Exceeds locked at all. Because they're just not going to special summon the extra deck at all. So it doesn't matter. It might turn off Super Poly for half a turn, like, oh no, right? But yeah, that means that a lot of the most common search targets for 7th Tachyon is unfortunately going to be a bunch of stun monsters. So like I guess we might as well go over these quickly, but like I'm sure you've already seen most of these by now. But you have Water Barrier Statue. You can search this by revealing a Sign Honor Arc or a Ragna Zero. Fire Barrier Statue you can reveal by you can search by revealing Battling Boxer, the number 105. Barrier Statue, Earth Barrier Statue you can reveal by revealing Giant Hand. Light Barrier Statue you can search by revealing number 102 Star Seraph or Masquerade, because these are both light monsters. So you have access to any of the four. You have access to 4 of the Barrier Statues. I'm not sure you can actually search the Wind one, but the Wind one is banned anyway, so that's kind of funny that the one Barrier Statue that you can't search is already banned. So it's not like that big of a deal, I guess. And then you have Gravekeeper's Commandant, which this card searches Necro Valley, so that's also something you can do. You can use 7th Tachyon to essentially search Necro Valley, which is nice, I guess. You can search Thunder King Ryo, because the Ryo is a light level 4 monster, by revealing either of these two. You can search Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. This is probably going to be one of the most common cards searched off 7th Tachyon, because this is the card. It's limited to 1 in Master Duel, but with 7th Tachyon, you get essentially 3 more copies of Fossil Dyna if you choose to run this card. And yeah, Fossil Dyna is the generic barrier statue. It's the most annoying one, because there's no attribute that gets around this, and it's one giant hand gets you to Fossil Dyna, so that's nice. Fairy Tale Luna, also a classic stun card. Yeah, also a light level 4 monster, so you can easily search this. Amano Iwado, also searchable now, even though Amano Iwado is limited, but you can still search it. Likewise, Inspector Border is also searchable. So yeah, this entire top row is just all of the commonly played stun monsters. Every single one of these monsters is now easy searchable with 7th Tachyon. And then there's a bit more to it. There's Dogmatica Ecclesia, which you might not want to waste a 7th Tachyon on, but again, you can search this to search your Dogmatica Punishment if you're low on removal. Also, you can play this in Umi Stun as well, because Umi Stun, again, also doesn't care about the extra deck, and you can actually take advantage of the level 5 searchers. With Ocean Lord Kaiushin, you can search this by revealing Honor Dark, a level rank 5 water Xyz. So yeah, you can search this, or you can search the Electric Jellyfish as well. So yeah, just a bunch of stun decks, which unfortunately stun might be the deck that uses 7th Tachyon the most. Now, here's some copium, but I don't think this card is actually that good in stun for a couple reasons. It's definitely going to see play in stun, but that's because stun players, I mean, people that play stun decks will just run anything. So, you know, you're probably going to get caught off guard by this a couple times. But number one, this card loses to Ash Blossom pretty hard. Like, it makes stun susceptible to Ash Blossom. And one of the positives or the benefits of playing stun is that all of your opponent's hand traps, besides like Imperm, are essentially just dead. So like they're playing a bunch of dead cards in their deck that don't affect you at all. You know, the average deck is running like what, 12, 15 hand traps this format, and 12 you can with normally stun, 12 of those cards are just completely dead against you. However, if you like to run 7th Tachyon, then suddenly there's 3 more of your cards are suddenly live. The Ash Blossom, which is a card that's run at 3 in almost every deck in Master Duel right now, a card that you normally didn't lose to by playing 7th Tachyon, you open yourself up to Ash Blossom. And number 2 is that this is a -1. So it's probably not that big of a deal in stun, because it's probably worth it to go -1 to search the literal best Floodgate monster in your entire deck. But at the same time, stun is not a deck that generates advantage by itself, and if you start the turn, if you start going first, you're already down 1 card on your opponent, and then 7th Tachyon puts you down 2 cards versus your opponent, so you're going to have to basically try to survive a turn playing stun with only 4 cards versus your opponent's 6 cards, which is, it's like your opponent kind of max-seed you because they're up 2 cards against you, which, you know, sometimes if you just have the Floodgate, it's enough, but at the same time, that's not ideal. Going -1 in stun, which is a deck that doesn't generate advantage by itself at all, so it's kind of risky. This is not, I don't think this is going to be the optimal way to play stun, which is playing 7th Tachyon. But I'm just saying, I'm just warning you that it is going to be played in stun decks, even if it's not optimal. So yeah, and it's going to be really annoying now that in the decks that do play this, they're going to have access to basically 4 copies of Fossil Dyna, or 4 copies of Inspector Border, or like 6 copies of any barrier statue that they want. So yeah, just be ready for that. Unfortunately, you know, this is the application that people are most fearing with 7th Tachyon, which is the stun monsters. However, there are other decks that can make use of this. You know, one of them, probably one of the most common or most popular ways people are theorizing with 7th Tachyon is Exosister, because Marfa is a level 4 light monster, so you can search this by revealing either of these 2, and you essentially get 3 more copies of Marfa. Now you have 6 copies of Marfa in Exosister, so that's actually a very needed consistency boost for playing Exosister. also, it searches other Exosister cards as well. You can search Sakitama as a generic extender, since this is a level 4 extender that normal summons instead of special summons, so it doesn't conflict with Exosisters locking you into only Exosister special summons. And obviously, Exosister does not care about being Xyz locked, because this is an Xyz based deck. So yeah, and also something else is that you can search the Shizu Shufflers as well, since these are Earth and Fairies. So you can search them with either revealing this or this. And admittedly, most decks that run the Shufflers, stuff like Tier, they're not Xyz based decks, or they're decks that do stuff besides just Xyz something, so they're just not going to really be played in those decks. But you can technically play this in Exosister too if you want. For example, if you already have access to Marfa, you can use 7 Tachyon to like search a Keldo, and then you can normal summon the Keldo, so that when you make your Magnificent, and when you make your Exosister Xyz, you can also detach the Keldo, so that the Keldo also goes to the grave. So you have an extra form of interruption in the Shuffler. And also, Keldo can also trigger your own Marfa as well, since it can banish itself to move cards from the graveyard into the deck, which then will trigger your Marfa itself. So like if you get Hand Trap, for example, or other things, it's definitely a tech option you can play in Exosister as well. And like you can it's maybe worthwhile to play this now, because just to give you additional targets to search for 7 Tachyon, because sometimes you do hard open Marfa anyways, and it'd be nice to have a nice secondary target to search as well. Also, another deck that benefits off 7 Tachyon is obviously the Tachyon Galaxy Eyes deck. The cards from the new pack. Okay, so like all 3 of the Broken Galaxy Photon cards from the new pack are Tachyon Primal, Schwartz, Joseph Rothschild Infinity Dragon, plus Tachyon Cloud Dragon. These 3 cards are from the newest selection pack as well. They are excellent Tachyon support. So Cloud Dragon is a Poplar. And you can tribute this card to special summon any Tachyon monster from your deck. So it's a Poplar plus like a Lone Fire Blossom. And 7 Tachyon searching Tachyon Cloud Dragon is basically Bonfire Search Poplar, right? Like it's for Galaxy Eyes and Tachyon. So yeah, that's pretty nice. You have Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal Dragon, which is also cool because you can just if a Dragon Xyz monster on the field, which you're playing a rank 8 Dragon deck, so you tend to have Dragon Xyz monsters on the field, you can special summon this card, and then you can search a Tachyon Spell Trap card. Notably, the newest Tachyon Counter Trap was also released in this pack, which was, oh my god, why did I try to type that? Okay, Tachyon. Yeah, Tachyon. You can search Tachyon Transmigration, one of the most broken counter traps in the entire game. You activate this card as Chainlink 2 or higher, and you get to negate the activations of all your opponent's spell trap cards on a lower chainlink than the Tachyon Transmigration. So, if they activate like 2, even 3 effects in the same chain, Tachyon Transmigration negates all of those. And this card can be used from the hand if you control a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, which is this card right here. Or I think this card also counts. But yeah, it's a counter trap that you can use from hands that negates everything in the chains. And this is searchable by Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal, which is searchable by 7 Tachyon. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And the Joseph Rothschild Dragon, if you control no monsters or your opponent controls a 2k attack monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then special summon a level 8 light or dark dragon from your deck. So that's fucking crazy. This is a 1 card rank 8 that doesn't cost your normal summon. So yeah, that's pretty broken. You're locked into Dragon Xyz monsters, but you're playing the Dragon Xyz deck, so you probably don't care too much about that. Also, other targets that you can search in this deck are the Galaxy Eyes cards themselves, like Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon and Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon, like you see here as the free extender, and the card that enables a bunch of OTKs as well. You can also search Starleech Seyfert, which, again, do not play this in Dragon Link. Do not run 7 Tachyon to search Starleech Seyfert in Dragon Link. That's not gonna end well for you. But you can play this in Galaxy Eyes, and then use Seyfert to search your Galaxy cards that way. So that's fine. Also, other decks that can potentially run 7 Tachyon is Shark. Shark is another Xyz based deck. It's like Honestly, it's kind of like Water Exosister, just minus the anti-meta stuff. But yeah, you can search the best cards in the deck now, which are Buzzsaw Shark. It's a 1-card starter. It summons any fish, or not just any fish. It summons a one special summon from your deck into the event, one fish monster with the same level as a monster you targeted for this card's effect. So yeah, you can summon any level 4 fish monster from your deck with Buzzsaw Shark, and this is the 1-card Xyz. And then you can go into like Bahamut Shark, you can go into Armored Fortress stuff, you can go into all your Shark plays. But most importantly, 7th Tachyon searches Abyss Shark. And Abyss Shark is the best extender in the fish deck by far, or the shark deck by far. As long as all of the monsters you control are water monsters, which they are going to be water monsters. You are playing a Water Xyz deck. You can special summon Abyss Shark, then Abyss Shark searches any level 3, 4, or 5 fish monster from your deck. So this searches stuff like Xyz Remora, which then Xyz Remora, Jesus Christ. Xyz Remora can then detach and then special summon 2 more bodies on the field. You get like infinite bodies. So like, and this also can't be impermed because you can Ashes, but you can't imperm this because the search happens on the same as on the hand activation. It's not a search on the field, so it dodges imperm like that. And yeah, basically Sharks is super consistent now with 7 Tachyon. I wouldn't say it's too great right now because in Master Duel, Toad is still banned for some godforsaken reason, so this deck doesn't have the ceiling it does in the TCG, but it has the consistency now though, so yeah, that's something. And those are, I think, the most relevant cards that 7 Tachyon are going to be searching in Master Duel right now. Again, this is pre-Ryzeal. Some people are suspecting we might get Ryzeal soon. I will wait until the packs are actually announced before we cross that bridge. But yeah, obviously when Ryzeal comes, 7 Tachyon is crazy in Ryzeal, because also when Ryzeal comes, we're probably going to get Malice too, and you can use 7 Tachyon to search this card called Artifact Lancia. And Lancia is not really used right now. It will be used when we get if and when we get Malice. But yeah, this is a floodgate hand trap that you can search off 7 Tachyon that can shut down decks that depend on banishing. So that's cool. You can also search floodgates off of a 7 Tachyon too, just in case this card didn't have enough search targets. But again, this is just what I came up with, or what I've been seeing. You got a bunch of stun, you got a bunch of Xyz spaces. Oh yeah, how could I forget the common or the rare Dire W generators? You can search Loptar, which is the best starter in generator. And generators, while they can do more than Xyz summon, especially if you play the runic version, but obviously you probably just don't play the runic version if you're playing 7th Tachyon, and generator can live off of just Xyz and nothing else. You can live off of exceeding Leviathan and Jormungandr if you use 7th Tachyon to add a combo piece. That's well worth it. So yeah, I think these are some of the most relevant decks and most relevant cards that you can search off 7 Tachyon. Let me know if you're going to use 7 Tachyon to search anything else, and let me know all of the hundreds, if not thousands, of cards I've missed that can also be searched off 7 Tachyon, because that's one thing of this card. There's no shortage of options with this. They may not all be that great, but they do exist, and that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, making jank options more playable.